Hello there, one and all, and thank you very much for tuning into episode 564 of Love at First Scent with me, Persolaise, live on YouTube as always. You know what I'm going to say next. Regardless of whether you're watching the live or you're watching the recording, you are very, very welcome. We have a comment already from Alex. Hi Alex, who says, hello everyone, greetings from a thunderstormy Austria. Okay. Keep that weather to yourself, please. Scent of the day is 1876 by Histoire de Parfum, a very delicious cumin rose. I think that's one of the sort of earlier ones that I'm not overly familiar with. You know, Histoire de Parfum is a brand that I keep meaning to sort of do a full revisitation of, but their number one, their portfolio is quite large, and number two, not the easiest brand to get hold of in the UK, but maybe I will have to address that at some point soon. Mort Violette is here as well, saying hello and good morning from north of San Francisco. Thank you very much for tuning in. Very, very quickly then, for those of you who are watching the live, the plan for today is to do two back-to-back showcase videos, same as we did last Monday, I seem to remember, although at a slightly different time. One, a brand that I think we can still kind of consider as new, and one from a brand that definitely isn't a spring chicken brand anymore, but still has a very small number of scents under its belt. So all that will be revealed in the next video. Who else is here? David says, good morning, everyone. Hello to you as well, David. Jeno says, yay, alive, called in sick today, and this definitely makes me feel so much better. Sending good thoughts your way. Ula's here as well. So is Ryan, who's saying bonjour. And Holly says, finally made a live chat from the beginning. Excellent. Okay, right. How many of you out there are aware of this British brand called Diem? This is their reusable 10ml spray contraption thingy. You twist it, and then you expose the spray mechanism of the perfume, and then you can supposedly, yes, remove the 10ml and stick in another 10ml from their range. I've got 3 of their perfumes here. They have quite a bit more than 3. So we're going to be smelling Love Tangle, Self-Made and Two Halves. Never heard of them, says Ryan. Well, if you're watching the recording, you know, several weeks after the broadcast and you have come to know about them, then please let me know what you think. It's a brand, I have to say, I mean, I suppose the first thing I ought to say is that I'm probably not their core demographic, their target demographic. I would imagine that maybe a lot of you watching this video are also probably not their core demographic, but I could be wrong. I don't know a huge amount about its backstory. If the information that I found online is to be believed, they were founded by 2 people, Annabelle Baker and Greg Latoc. I think they've got a business background, those 2 individuals. And apparently somebody called Phil Wilkinson has also been employed to help develop the brand. And I'll tell you why I say I don't think I'm their core demographic. It's because we're going to read their sort of publicity blurb that they're putting out there. I don't think they've actually used the word disruptor in their publicity blurb, but it definitely feels as though they are heading in that direction and that they want to be seen as a disruptor. I think disruptor for me has become a bit of a kind of trigger word when these press releases and press blurbs are concerned, purely because it's been overused and also misused. Because a lot of the time, it's the very brands that call themselves disruptors that actually seem to have the safest, most tame, most generic types of fragrances, and they're really, really, really trying hard to convince you that they're shaking things up. This brand is certainly trying to convince you that it's shaking things up. So if I actually tell you a little bit about what they say about themselves, and then we can smell the 3 perfumes. We have got pre-sprayed blotters as well. So their whole thing is that you shouldn't just have one perfume in your wardrobe, which, you know, clearly we go along with that. Those of you watching this, those of us watching these sorts of channels. But I'm not sure that's such a new thing. So they said that their tagline is one scent could never tell your story because you're never going to fit all that personality into a single bottle. Wink emoji. Forget big bottles and chunky price tags. This March, London-based fragrance house Diem launches, and they're on a mission to disrupt an outdated industry, bringing atelier-made perfume to the people in small formats with accessible prices. Diem are taking the hype, hassle, and cost of outer fragrance. I think we'll let them have that typo. Cost outer fragrance, which are big claims to make, right? Launching with 11 gender-neutral fragrances, customers can use the brand's online fragrance finder, which I have done, to mix and match perfumes to their liking, priced from £25 for 10 mils. Okay, so yes, that does mean that you don't have to spend a great deal of money in order to be able to get your hands on a few mils of stuff, but £25 for 10 mils I don't think counts as a cheap perfume. Diem's 10ml fragrances are all designed to be used in their aluminium refill for life casing, a slick matte twist and spray device available in 3 colours, obsidian, raw and off-white, so that you can reflect your personality and your tastes, right? Diem's fragrance finder algorithm, spelt RYTHM for some reason, encodes modern fragrance knowledge from leading industry experts into a digitized recommendation engine, providing key insights based on customer input to identify suitable fragrances that match consumer interests. The system uses multiple data points to correlate preferences with Diem's fragrance offering, providing a personalized and unique start to fragrance discovery. So I did the questionnaire thing. And it doesn't ask anything that hasn't been asked in these questionnaire things before. And at one point it asks you to put in 2 perfumes in your collection that you really love. And I thought, okay, let's see what database they're using here. I put in Tower's Lone Star Memories, and they did have it in the database. And then I put in Amouage's Gold Man, which also came up in the database. Perhaps less surprising that that was in the database, but it made me wonder if they're using the Michael Edwards database. I don't know, but I was impressed that Lone Star Memories came up. Diem are on a mission to create a new kind of space where consumers can experiment, have fun, and build a scent collection that adapts to every version of them, doing away with the age-old signature scent and encouraging true expression and fresh, fearless experimentation with fragrance. And we have a quote from one of the co-founders, Annabelle Baker, who says, "We want customers to wear fragrance intentionally as an extension of their own personal style, functioning as an invisible but powerful layer to complete their aesthetic narrative. Whether it's your mood, your outfit, or your big, bold plans, we've got a scent for that. Build your collection, switch it up, and match the fragrance to the moment." And all of that is fine, except that it's hardly reinventing the wheel. It is not new stuff. And I think this is what sort of irks me a little bit about the brand's shtick, that they're presenting all of these ideas as though they're brand new. What are you folks saying? Smarks says, what kind of disruption in the perfume world would people actually want to see? I'd love to see more diversity in perfumers and more sustainability, the way Sana Jardin does. I actually did think to myself, because I thought one of you may ask me, who do I consider to be the truly disruptive perfumers? And if we have time, we may have a bit of a chat about that. I'd love to know who you think are the truly disruptive perfumers out there. Alex says the L word, layering. Oh god, although I don't think they're really pushing layering here. Okay, so let's start with the one which they sent me in the 10 mil size, and it's called Love Tangle. Let's pop the tablet there for a second. Some of their names are a little bit cringy. They're trying to be really, they're trying really hard to appeal to Generation Alpha or to Gen Z, or whoever it is that we're meant to be appealing to these days. Now, Love Tangle, I have had a brief sniff of all 3 of them. Love Tangle is probably the best of these 3. It was the first one I smelt, and I thought, okay, if this is what they're all going to be like, they're certainly not disruptive, because this is essentially a kind of simple, streamlined grapefruit blackcurrant scent. That's pretty much what it is. It's got that kind of effervescent, again, the word simple comes to mind. Simple feel of a Guerlain Aqua Allegoria, even though actually the best Aqua Allegorias are considerably more complex than this. It's discreet, it's modest, it's unassuming. In calling it Love Tangle, to think that this is a tangle of any way, shape or form. I mean, it's the most innocent, chaste kind of love that is being expressed here. But I thought, okay, if they're trying to appeal to people out there who perhaps don't wear perfumes very much and want to start somewhere simple, want to start with something that smells fairly naturalistic, this is harmless. Let's see what they say about the perfume. Let me see if I can go to the actual perfumes bit. So, Love Tangle, some of the other names, okay. So, Primal Draw. I think that was the one that was recommended to me through the questionnaire thing, and apparently that is meant to be a tuberose, jasmine and ylang ylang composition. But there's one called Quiet Riot, there's one called Dare You, there's one called No Strings, and then, you know, chapter 2, there is something to me quite unconvincing about the names. Maybe it's because it feels as though the names came before the perfumes, if you see what I mean. Anyway, Love Tangle, where are we with Love Tangle? So, apparently Love Tangle is a scent for the wild at heart. Honeysuckle and briar roses twist through thorny hedgerows while blackcurrants ripen in the heat. Love Tangle lingers like a moment you don't want to end, sweet, wild and impossible to forget. Now, that is an oversell. Then I tried these two guys here. So let's go to Self-Made. By the way, I haven't been able to find out who the perfumers for these are. That says it all, really. I haven't been able to find out who the perfumers for these are. But if the internet is to be believed, then I think they've all been made by CPL Aromas, which is a UK-based perfume composition and compounding house. That's not going to work. Let's just pop that on here. So, Self-Made. This feels... It feels like it's got a higher dose of ambery woods than it should have. It's kind of woody, kind of musky, but again, very much sticking to the background. You know, 10 mils of this stuff. If I were to actually wear this, I would get through 10 mils of this stuff probably in, I don't know, a week, if I was wearing it every day. Marketing, says Alex. What about the product? I know, it really feels as though the product was the final thing here. And they keep pushing this thing about how it's so high quality and it's made with the best ingredients. You know, I'm still waiting for the brand that says in a press release that they couldn't quite afford the best quality ingredients. Where are we? So this is Self-Made. Self-Made, they say, is magnetic and delicious. Self-Made draws people in and keeps them hooked. Ripe figs, cinnamon and clove create a spiced rum opening. I mean, you know, if it's meant to be a kind of cinnamon figgy clovey crumble type thing, it's somebody's cooking it like 5 doors down and the wind's blowing in the other direction. Maybe there is a whiff of something like that here. Giving way to tobacco and vetiver root as the scent lingers on, a fragrance for owning the room. I think not to the likes of you and me. I would imagine. Although I would love to be corrected. Apparently, you wear this to power plays, late night soirees, and big entrances. I'm really not convinced. And then this was the one that made me think, oh dear, I hope there aren't more like this. This is 2 halves, and if you don't mind, I'm just going to do the one spray, because this lingered around. A very small room, maybe, says Alex. Yeah. This is doing that kind of crass, aggressive, 21st century, we all want to buy shares in Creed, man-spready, aggressive, unattractive, woody thing. I'd love to. I haven't seen the blurb. I'd love to find out why it's called Two Halves. Let's see. So, what have we got here? Two Halves is the essence of yin and yang. Cool, grapefruity timot pepper and bergamot peel meet the sweet warmth of sticky dried fruits, vanilla and labdanum. Bold, intriguing and magnetic, it's as unpredictable as you are. Do you see what I mean about the prose? It's really, really trying hard with the whole carefree, oh you devil, oh you rebel shtick. It is a shtick, and I'm kind of not buying it. The forehead is not amused, says Offenlich. No, the forehead is definitely not, and definitely not amused. And apparently this one is for gigs, date nights, and for keeping them guessing. You know, somebody somewhere, I suppose, is going to enjoy wearing these. I don't quite know who that's going to be. I would be intrigued to smell the other ones, you know, because the completist in me would like to smell them. Anyway, let's do the pre-spray blotters. Right. Is it an AI blurb, says Christine. Who knows? Who knows? I'm sure there are brands out there who, if they're not generate, you know, using AI to generate copy from scratch, they are probably running some copy that they have written through AI and telling it to, I don't know, make it more appealing to a certain demographic or whatever. I'm sure that kind of thing is happening. Anyway, and I'm not necessarily saying that that's a good or a bad thing. If it can produce good copy and if it actually reflects your product, fine. But this doesn't feel convincing to me. It doesn't feel convincing. Anyway, we started with Love Tangle, so this is pre-sprayed Love Tangle. Smarks says, perfume marketing has probably always been a bit of a reach. Just think of Patou's conceit of different perfumes for different hair colours. I don't remember that one, or if I did know that one, I've forgotten it. Yes, I agree. Marketing by its very nature has got to, you know, it's got to out superlatives. But I can forgive marketing and publicity and advertising a lot. I can forgive it a lot, as you know, if the product stands up to it. And actually, before we do this, the pre-spray blotters, let's talk for a little while about, you know, disruptors. The real disruptors of their time were people like Jacques Garlin, like François Coty. Yes, the perfumes that they created are considered to be classics now, but they were really breaking the mold. I'm, you know, on the strength of these three that I've smelled here, this is not irreverent or iconoclastic in any shape or form. I'd love to know from you, actually, who do you think are the real disruptors? I mean, for me, the brands that are doing truly interesting things are, let's say, brands like Les Indémodables. I mentioned Amouage earlier. I think a lot of what's coming out of Amouage from Amouage at the moment is genuinely trying to be different, genuinely trying to make us think, oh gosh, I haven't smelt this before. I don't quite know what to make of this. Just in terms of quality, I suppose it would be a brand like Nile Vermeer. As you know, I was very impressed with Frasai. I mean, I'm sure I'm forgetting people. What Quartana, Joseph Quartana is doing with his brand is interesting. Antoine Lee's work remains interesting, especially his work with Les Indémodables and with Barbara Herrmann at Eris. Offenlicht says, Geyser Schön conceptually has been disruptive in terms of challenging what people consider perfume. Yes, completely agree with you. Ula says, my tactic of actively avoiding TikTok trending brands, fragrances is the best thing I've ever done to my nose. Well, I mean, I don't even go on TikTok. And Dushan says, bravo, Ula. Alex says, no, okay, sorry, you're talking about Patou still. Mimo, is it Mimo? Today says, a birthday gift from my sister arrived. It was Jardin en Méditerranée by Hermès. I'm so pleased. Jean-Claude Eleanor in his own way was a disruptor, wasn't, you know, he pushed the idea of the tea scent. I don't think these are the disruptors. We've got some suggestions here from Yvette of disruptors. L'Anthropiste, Nile Vermeer for sure. I'd also agree with Eris and Rania J. Those are the people whose work we are interested in. Go back 25 years, Frederic Malle. That was a genuine genuinely disruptive movement in the industry. I'm sure I'm forgetting lots of people. Diem, I don't think, fall into that camp. So very quickly then, pre-sprayed Love Tangle. It's just a bit of a nothing citrusy musk now. You would get through a lot of this in if all you had was 10 mils. Self-made. So self-made, I forget what that was even meant to be. Liz Moores says, Dushan, yeah, thank you. Self-made definitely has a kind of over-reliance on those woody ambers. But again, it's just... It's not even monodimensional, it's kind of semi-dimensional. And then the one that I really didn't enjoy very much, Two Halves. I mean, this is... There are supermarket deodorants out there that are better than this. So there we go. I cannot give this an endorsement. Somebody somewhere will probably be buying this stuff. Somebody somewhere will probably be giving it a thumbs up and saying that, you know, it's the next radical thing. I can't say I'm going to be one of those people. I wanted to start with this brand because I know that for the second video we'll be able to finish with smiles on our faces. So thank you very much for watching this one. I will be back in a few minutes with another video, I should say, because I'm trying to say this at the end now rather than the beginning. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do consider doing so. Click on the little bell so that you get notifications about new videos. And you should also be able to see a link to my Ko-fi page if you would like to find out how you can support my work, as well as to my Substack. And at some point today, I think it may already have happened, by the way, or it's happening in half an hour, my latest Substack post is a review of the latest version of Dior Homme Parfum. Anyway, see you in a bit. Thanks for watching. Bye now.